Oh, it's good to see you again, and I can't wait for you to hear the video and see the pictures of the stories this year of the people who somehow through the mystery of faith and the mystery of life ended up making a connection here at the church. But first, let me catch you up to date on a couple of folks. Thomas is continuing his studies to be a drug counselor at UC Santa Cruz and doing well. Manny, the vet, you'll remember from last year, I'm sorry to say his health has failed, and although he still has his apartment, he's at the VA hospital in Palo Alto. You'll recognize that Bill is still here. Rick continues to work for the pool and spa company doing electrical and plumbing. And a couple weeks ago, I had the joy of seeing Lily Rose, who's almost 3 years old and just is becoming a happy big little girl. And we hope in about 8 months we'll be reunited with her mother. Watch this year's, folks. I think you're going to be surprised. I think you're going to hear the church at work in the world, feeding the hungry, healing the sick, clothing the naked, and just sharing the good news that God promises a new beginning.
I found myself in quite the predicament. I was a victim of a crime, and so unfortunately lost my job and my housing. My church that I attend to every Sunday heard about my situation and offered me a room here while I get back on my feet. And now that I'm here, so many more doors open up for me. So now I'm attending college full time. And then from there, I just started noticing this church is different in every aspect. And it just sucked me in, which is a great thing. It was a wonderful thing.
I was doing drugs for the past 10 years, and it got pretty heavy. And I ended up going to jail. Once I got into here, I started going to meetings every day, and then shortly after that, I started rebuilding a relationship with my parents, and today it's better than it's ever been in my life. God's doing so many wonderful things for me, and I really believe that when you are doing what is best for you in your life, and you know when you're done and you're ready to just, to live life.
I'm a career alcoholic, drug addict, one of those individuals that had some really tough issues with God. Whenever I was 6 years old, I got to witness my dad being shot. And that was a very traumatic experience for me. It's like, well, why would God take my dad? I would come here to the AA meetings, and I saw what the church was doing, i.e. the feeding, feeding the hungry, clothing the individuals and giving them blankets and, toiletry supplies and stuff like that. And I thought, hey, you know what? That's pretty cool. So I asked Pastor, hey, what does it take to be a member? It's like, you got to sign something in blood or what? And he says, no, man, just show up.
I feel a lot better. A lot of people see me, they say, boy, I don't believe it, Everybody thought I was dead. I just feel a lot better. I'm going to church every Sunday. I always did believe in God, but now I know He's deeper in my heart now.
I have been drinking and using drugs, had been drinking and using drugs since I was like 12 years old, and that became a very normal part of my life. When I got out of jail, my partner was in a rehab, and so now I was homeless by myself. I ended up at an AA meeting to see the person that was in rehab, and thinking that I could just go and like flirt with him and talk to him or whatever. Wasn't thinking I was going for an AA meeting. So I walk into the AA meeting, loaded still, and the girl that I'd been in jail with was in the AA meeting, and she told me that she was staying at the Methodist church where the AA meeting was held. The day after that is my sobriety date. I am reestablishing a relationship with my parents. Pastor Jim gave me the opportunity to play the piano for the church at the service, which was kind of nerve-wracking but very exciting. And my mom actually came down from Sacramento and got to hear me play the piano at church, and that was a really amazing experience.
I hope you enjoyed the video. About 3 weeks ago, Jack, the treasurer, and I were in the office and we were shaking our heads, looking at the bills, and we really weren't sure how things were going to work out. And then Cindy called and said it was time for the video for Los Altos, and we were reminded again that we're not doing this alone. You are rescuing us again, and we thank you because you're always there, and it's only through your support that any of this happens. Thank you so much for being the church. We love you and we appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you again.